Hello everyone, Ember Power here, back with a new video. Today I'll be doing something that I've wanted to do for a while now, and that's take a look at GLC. For those of you who don't know, GLC stands for Gym Leader Challenge, and it's essentially a fan-made format created by Tricky Gym, aka Andrew Mahone. I'll do my best to answer any questions in the comments, but without further ado, let's get started. So the rules of GLC is that you're actually only allowed one type of Pokemon per deck, e.g. fighting types. So if you do want to build like a deck in GLC, you have to pick one type and stick with it. One of the other major rules is that no Pokemon with a rule box are allowed, e.g. no GX, EX, VMAX, V-Star, Prism, Radiant, or Pokemon Break. Although I'd have to check with Ancient Traits because I think Ancient Traits aren't legal in this format as far as I'm aware, but I could be wrong on that. But either way, Pokemon with a rule box are not allowed, so you can't play any GX or, EX Pokemon. E.g., it's a single prize format. We're only playing single prize Pokemon. And the other major rule is that we are only allowed one copy of any card bar basic energy in our deck. So, for example, if you want to play Samurott in your deck, the stage 2 from Astral Radiance, you can only play one Oshawott, one Duat, and then one Samurott. Although that was a fairly bad example actually, because the Oshawott I believe is a water type, Duat's a water type, Samurott is a dark type. So unfortunately, there is some limitations with this format, and that is one of them. But unfortunately, it is limited to one copy of every card, and we're only allowed to play one type, and we're only allowed to play Pokemon that don't have a rule box. Ace packs are not allowed as well, so all those like very powerful trainer cards that would be a one-off, they would obviously just like massively give a massive advantage to a player if they found their ace pack before the other player did. So ace packs are not allowed, and the format is black and white onwards. So it is expanded, incorporated, but it's not going like way back into the days of Legacy. So with all that bearing in mind, what are the advantages of GLC? Well, in GLC, there is actually no rotation. So as far as I'm aware, in the rotation, there are absolutely no plans to rotate any sets from GLC. It has a larger card pool, so it is working with the expanded format. And this sort of ties into the fact that so many more cards are playable because of this. So we have like on the right here, we've got Hisuian Basculin, a Vikavolt, a Simsage, a Wailord, and a Gumi, which ultimately don't seem like very powerful cards in standard, and ultimately are like very cheap to pick up as a result. And then so they end up being infinitely more playable in something like GLC, where Wailord having 200 HP, for example, is very strong. Or Simsage, maybe not the best example, but Giga Impact doing 110 for 3 colorless energy. We have Rillaboom in this format still, or Cherrim to search your deck for grass energy and attach them. So many more playable cards that never really got a chance to shine in standard or expanded, and they get a chance to shine in GLC. There's also potential upgrades coming with each set, obviously. So like every new set will introduce hundreds of more cards into the card game. However, the vast majority of them will not be playable in standard. They'll just be resided to quote unquote bulk. And that's where like GLC comes in and just says, well, all those bulk cards you got lying around, well, you can actually turn them into a pretty good deck. And like that's the kind of main appeal about GLC for beginners as well, because it's like not expensive. Sure, there are some singletons in GLC that I think are rising in price, stuff like Teammates. But other than that, nothing really, it's not an expensive format to play in by any means. There's also a rise in supported events. So as we've seen recently at Worlds and at Regionals, there's been side events going on at the same time that support GLC. So hopefully in the future, Pokemon donates more of their resources and time, and we could hopefully see more GLC tournaments. So just an example here. This is a Rain Dance deck list taken from the official GLC Tricky Gym website. And you can see here the whole purpose is we're trying to use Blastoise's Deluge to attach as many water energy from a hand as we like. There's also a Frostmoth in here, as well as an entire line for consistency. So we even have like Octillery, there's a Vulpix Beacon. Our main attackers are ones like Lapras, the Wailord that we mentioned earlier. There's also a Starmie to recover energy. There's a basic Wishy-Washy that allows it to potentially shovel itself back into your deck. And then as we see with the items and supporters, there's like a massive range really. And that's like another great thing is if there's a supporter card that's like really expensive and standard right now, you don't need 4 of it, you just need 1 copy of it, or 1 for each GLC deck you're building, I guess. So this is just an example of a water deck if you're like planning on getting into GLC or something, and you just want a template to use to base your first deck off. So this is a second deck I took from the website. It's a Porygon Z deck. So Porygon Z has the ability Crazy Code that allows you to accelerate any number of special energy from your hand. And because in a format, in a format like GLC, I should say, there is like not very many ways to attach energy. Typically, like engines like Malamar and Flaffy, for example, are pretty slow in this format. So having Porygon, it just means that you can accelerate all these special energy and gives you a cool advantage. There's also some other like really powerful cards in here, like the Aerodactyl, which evolves from unidentified fossil. 3 colors energy does 90 damage, and if you have no GX or EX in play, well, you can't for starters in this format. You do 180 instead, so very strong. And then we have access to draw engines like Big Barrel and Zeno. So that is something worth bearing in mind for each of type, or like which type you end up picking, is do consider like what kind of draw engines you'll have to trade for and stuff. But either way, only needing a 1-1 line of each one is very efficient. Just looking over here, we have a Guzzlord deck list. This one focusing on the Ultra Beast Guzzlord from the, I want to say Ultra Prism set, but I might be wrong with that. Could be Forbidden Light. Has the attack Red Banquet for 4 energy. Oh wait, is that 5 energy? No, it's 4 energy. 4 energy does 120 damage, and then you take 1 extra prize card. And in a format where HP is very limited, obviously something like this is very, very strong, and we can obviously make use of, Raihan, Dark Patch, Beast Ring to accelerate an energy to Guzzlord and just get him up and running pretty quickly. Dark types also have access to Galarian Weezing, Leopard, and the Zoroark from Breakthrough, with a Mind Jack attack very, very strong, and Ultra Prism Weavile, which can smack for a lot of damage if your opponent is getting too trigger happy with abilities. So these 3 deck lists, they're not really the few I would say to just copy and paste. I would say like take a look at these, see what you like about them, change it up a bit, add some more attackers. And obviously these decks will change throughout the future when we get different attackers, different supporters, different items, different Pokemon. So yeah, just bear that in mind if you're, looking to start in GLC. But I would recommend at least looking at one of these as an example list. So thanks for watching. Be sure to check out the links in the description for more GLC content. I'll leave links to an Omnipoke guide, which goes way more into depth into GLC. I'll also leave a link to the Trigger Gym website and the main Trigger Gym channel. So thank you all for watching. It's been Emma Power. Hope you enjoyed today's short video. And yeah, let me know what you think and see you next time. Thank you for watching.